Suicidal people of Reddit, what helped keep you alive at your lowest moments, or what is keeping you alive? Cowardice, selfishness, fear of being a vegetable or put in a mental hospital and having the option of suicide taken away from me. Mood stabilizers, hospitalization, and antipsychotics. Stuff is fine now. Not good, barely great. If someone killed me in my sleep I'd be fine. But if I can still get some pleasure out of the stuff I have while I'm RN, then I won't kill myself yet. Once shit gets hard and pointless then maybe, but for now I'm good. I was the same way. Things were tolerable and I had small things to give me pleasure, but it's hard to accept things just being tolerable. For me, I found that through art I can make life as I want it. Seeing the beauty and peace found through pure expression of emotion showed me that there's always something to look forward to and gave me a reason to look forward. It really brought me back to life, and I hope you are able to find something worth living for. Trust me, it's out there, you just have to find it. I have a chronic nerve condition which causes certain nerves to overfire and send severe pain signals very quickly to random parts of my body. Never know when it's going to happen or not. It's a shitty disease. Sometimes it lasts 10 minutes, sometimes 10 days. I also have major medication-resistant depression. My lowest moment. Laying on my bathroom floor, sobbing uncontrollably. A bottle of 30 Ambien in one hand, a bottle of 90 Xanax on the floor, a bottle of 60 Valium on the counter, banging my head on the floor. Looking at my phone, pretending, I guess, to check what time it was, telling myself I was checking to make sure that nobody would find me before I died. I had a message notification. An internet friend and mother figure who knew I was in distress had sent me the dumbest wet cat meme ever and a note saying please call her. I never, ever call people. I can't hear for shit and I hate talking on the phone, but for some reason I called her, told her the entire truth about what was going on, and then we just talked and laughed until super early in the morning, like 6 a.m. She saved my life that night. And never brought it up again. Even though I still say I'd rather be dead, I'm pretty sure she at least means it when she says she's glad I'm not dead. I have a chronic pain situation that also causes nerves to misfire, but mine presents in other ways than yours. It fucking sucks and I'm sorry you are also dealing with a frustrating body and brain. Cannabis. No joke. When I was 16 I started to take speed regularly, which ended up in a psychosis and a hardcore depression. My first girlfriend cheated on me and left me because I was such a junkie. I was going to cut my arms when I was 19 and already 3 years on this shit when out of a sudden my cousin came at 3 a.m. in the morning at our place while I was holding the knife in my hand. He brought some weed and I smoked with him. Before that I smoked maybe 2 or 3 times but always fell asleep. Same this time. The next day I went for a walk in the forest, had one joint that he left me and started to smoke it by myself in nature. I felt the sun touching me, noticed the beauty of nature and with it the beauty of life. I think it was the first time in my life I felt something like happiness, and since that I never touched that shit speed. Now I'm 26 and I was a heavy weed smoker, but still educated myself, went to the gym and stuff, and now since 2 months I'm living 100% clean without any drugs or weed and have changed my whole life. I'm only still alive because I don't want to hurt other people. If there was a way to kill myself without hurting anyone I would do it without hesitation. That's a start. I was where you are right now for quite a while. I improved, and I think others in a similar boat can, too. Therapy and purpose. YMMV. Mashed potatoes, good shit and is heavenly emo. I suppose the lowest point was during an attempt. The risk that I would fuck it up and become brain damaged stopped me halfway through. What keeps me alive right now is ignoring my problems. Distractions are good, like food, TV, and video games. Which I know is not a particularly healthy attitude in the long term, but seeing as I have no way to solve my problems, it's better than falling back into despair. Any coping is good coping emo. We all got to level up those skills at our own pace, and let me tell you, you could be using way more harmful ones. My cat. Honestly, moving across the country with my dog. After I moved, I knew it might be a few weeks before anyone did a wellness check and my dog would suffer. He would also most likely eat me. I've seen the look in his eye. But that's beside the point. Being solely responsible for another life and having no one around to immediately clean up my mess, kind of forced me to look for a healthier coping method. My cats and my mom. I'm sure it would completely destroy my mom and I don't want to cause her pain. I know my cats would miss me, plus they bring joy to me each day. We're so bonded. Thinking of cuddling them or having them greet me at the door when I come home keeps me going. My 1996 Honda Civic. Tack. As fucked up as it sounds, cutting kept me alive for a while. I was so close to killing myself, even writing a note for my best friend telling him how much he means to me and how much I love him and how sorry I was to put him through this. At the time, it felt like he was the only one who cared and it wasn't enough. But then I realized how much pain I would be putting on him and my family, who weren't even aware of what was happening. And I told myself I would never die like that. And whenever I felt like I couldn't go on, I would cut myself to give myself a reason to live. As a former cutter as well, I recognize the release experienced from the cutting. Also, the sense of control. When I control the knife, I control the pain, I control the blood, I control how deep and how long I cut. I never really felt slitting my wrists would be an option for suicide because that would be taking things past the point of my own control. Also, the idea of someone else having to clean up the mess was always a deterrent. Minecraft. So much Minecraft. I'm not joking. It's kept me from falling straight into inanity. There's just something so therapeutic about it. The calming music. The simple art style. The way you can just mindlessly drift into a state of creativity and freedom. It honestly saved me. Hope. That one day everything will be better. Heh? I guess mine is the hope that things won't get that much worse. Shrug. I like yours, too, though. Not a lot at this point, TBH. Everything that can come apart in my life has either already done it or is swiftly on its way toward it. I'm basically just riding it out until I'm really, truly fucked beyond repair. After that, I'm out. Monk. Truth? Failure mostly. Aside from that though, probably pure stubbornness. Dying is great in theory. But theory is all we have. Nobody actually knows what happens to a human's consciousness when they die, right? We have zero evidence that being dead is better than being alive, we're just hoping it is. So better the devil you know than the one you don't, right? At least life sucks in mostly predictable ways. I ain't trying to end up in some wrist cutter's love story. So, if you're reading this, please stay. I know there's nothing I can say to convince you that you're so very important and the world is better with you in it. Whoa, I won't try. What I can say to is that there's nothing to say that being dead is better or isn't actually worse than here right now. At least stick to what you know. Yeah, this is probably the closest reasoning that I've had. This, and the fear of not actually killing myself, yay hospital bills. Way to make someone feel better about themselves and their life. I hate my life and everything in it, but knowing my luck, trying to kill myself would only make things worse. Deleted. I'm sure you'll get this answer a lot, but it was not being able to explain to my dog why I was gone. The thought of her missing me or wondering where I was. It hurt too much. And then I saw a doctor to get some help. The help helped. My younger sister, in my past suicide attempts my little sister blamed herself. She's 11. I can't do that to her. Never again. Same but for my older brother. I was 17 and he was 19 at the time. Spite. Life has been pretty cruel to me, but if it wants me dead it's going to have to try harder and take me out itself. Kill me yourself, PC. The idea that there are people looking up to me and I'll break them if I leave is something that has kept me going. I also used this logic to save a friend from committing suicide. Fear of hell. Interesting. I have no such belief structure, but whatever it takes to get you through. Are you getting help? Therapy was truly enlightening for me. How aware my family became knowing that they need to put their differences aside, except my mom. She doesn't take criticism, so I don't tell her nothing because she'll say something and you can't even argue back with her. But for the past month my aunties and grandpa, who I used to live with till turned 7, started seeing me more, and my grandpa said I could stay with him, and he has everything I need to get my life better. I don't have to be homeless, I can get to practice, get a job, work on myself without the troubles of my siblings and mom, and I can spend more time with my grandpa. Thinking about my mom being sad, that's the only reason so far. The only one. I'm sorry you're feeling like this. Trust me, your mom isn't the only one who would be sad. Habit. My dog died a couple weeks ago, so it's all I've got left. Guess we'll see how far it takes me. I miss having someone talk to, even if he couldn't talk back. He was my source of comfort and companionship, and it's hard to make it through all these grey days knowing that there won't be any bright moments. Please go and rescue another doggy friend. I know it's hard to ever imagine having another dog in your life so soon after losing your companion, but another dog will find its way into your heart. It's the best thing that I ever did. Even though she's chewed my house apart, I wouldn't change it for all the tea and china. Good luck, thumbs up. I've come a long way since then, but for me it was the thought of my elderly cat being rehomed and separated from my other cat, and them not knowing what happened. All of the animals I've had in life have been rescues, and this one cat had spent almost a year at the shelter after her previous owners passed from old age. The thought of sending her back to that was unbearable. I know some people might think that's crazy, but I completely had the same thing happen to me. I volunteered at a shelter and raised this kitten from birth, bottle feeding it, cleaning her up, and I ended up adopting her. She's almost 5 now and attached to me like no other animal I've ever had in the past. I'm doing much better now, but in the past she was my main reason for being too afraid to take that extra step into depression. I couldn't imagine her being sent back or dying before someone realized what happened to me, since I lived alone at the time. I learned that an attachment to pets can be a life-saving thing. Had a friend commit suicide in high school. One of the hardest days of my life was going to her funeral, and finding out after that she'd made some cries for help through her online pages. I wound up in and out of hospitals after that. The only real thing to keep me going is knowing just how sharp, and deep, and empty the pain is when you lose someone to suicide. It's not like when someone dies in a car accident, or of old age, or a physical health issue. It's unique. They chose to leave. It weighs on everyone around them, things that could have been said differently, things that I should have picked up on, how that person could still be alive if something was done differently, and knowing just how close it was. The only thing keeping me going is knowing that I can't put the people I care about through that pain. I have to be strong enough to remember my friends who are gone to suicide. It weighs heavier each time a different friend is gone over the years now. I had the same happen to me. My close friend took his own life 3 years ago. I saw the devastation his death caused and finally understood what would happen if I did the same. I couldn't put my best friends and family through that. I started to get back on track, stopped self-harming for a year, but then it just got worse. I started cutting again, and it was worse that before and more often. I realized that it was getting to that point again, so I started online counseling without anyone knowing, and I have now gone almost a year without hurting myself. I use art and studying as a way to cope. I still miss my friends so much, but understand that committing suicide doesn't take away your pain, it passes it on. I hope everyone stays strong and remembers there's always a reason to live and a person out there who cares and loves you. I didn't want people going through my stuff afterwards.